welcome to the Gossetts Farm Market in South Salem, New York. My name is Rachel Campbell and I'm your chef today, and I want to show you some beautiful things that I've gathered at the market, and we're going to do a few nice little simple dishes for you that you can cook at home. This is fennel, beautiful young fennel, small bulbous fennel. I've got those.
That's from Medora.
From Medora Farm.
Yes.
And I've got some red and yellow peppers. And I'm going to make a lovely red pepper soup out of that. And I've got a carrot and a couple of shallots for our soup. And I've got a potato for our soup. And I've got some lovely apples. And I'm going to make a caramelized apple dessert make a little parfait. So we're going to get these washed, and then we'll be back. We're going to start with our soup. And the first thing, this is a shallot, beautiful shallot from Medora Farm. In fact, all of these vegetables are from Medora Farm. And just going to take easy to cut an onion or a shallot is to cut it in half long ways, and then peel off the front. I'm using shallots, so I'm going to use 2. If I were using an onion, I'd probably do 1 medium-sized onion. Compost bowl. I never waste a rather large chunk, so I'm just going to do about like that, about a half an inch, 3/4 of an inch. Of your whatever vegetable you're using, in this case red peppers and yellow peppers, to cut them all in the same size so that they all finish cooking at the same time. A little this is beautiful olive oil from Hudson River Traders. And where are they from? They're from New York.
Yeah, and the olive oil is from Northern California.
Okay, so we're going to put in about, I don't know, maybe a tablespoon of olive oil. And we're going to add our shallots. Now, you don't want to burn your shallots, so you want to make sure that your heat isn't on high. And you just want, well, this is what we call sweating. You'll see in cookbooks where recipes will tell you to saute onions or saute garlic. Really, that's an inaccurate phrase, because to saute means to brown, and you don't want to brown your aromatics because you don't want them to get bitter. So we call this sweating. Just to cover them with oil and a little warmth to bring out their inherent sweetness. You just want to keep an eye on this, that it doesn't start to brown. So while that's doing that, I'm going to show you how to cut your peppers. This is a really easy way to do it. I just go around the core. That's beautiful. Okay, now I can hear this. I can hear the sizzle, so that's telling me be careful. It's getting too hot. When you cook, you use all of your faculties. You use your eyes, of course, your ears, your smell. So my ears can hear that might be getting too hot. I'm just going to keep a little body. Classically, in French cooking, you would use butter and cream, but for a more health-conscious soup with no fat other than the olive oil, you can thicken it with potato. I'm not a fan of thickening soup with flour. I like to use potato. Some people use rice, that's fine too. You know, I'm thinking you don't have to worry about cooking them now because it's going to cook in the soup. And it's really nice to have in your pantry. Always have some chicken broth to whip something up. I make my own, but certainly good quality organic chicken broth. Of course, when I post these recipes, I'll give you an exact amount. Now, what we've got here, this is a quart. My rule of thumb is, this is not enough, just by looking at it. My rule of thumb is to cover your vegetables by about a half an inch to an inch. Better to use less broth and then thin it later, either with some water or some chicken broth, than to make it too watery so that it doesn't come out. Then it comes out.
What are you making now?
Polenta crostini.
Oh.
We're going to grill that off. Now, this is, I love polenta because it takes 10 minutes to make, if that. And how I like to do it is, I cook it on the, cook it on the burner. It takes about 6 minutes, I guess 7 minutes. And then I quickly pour it into a loaf pan. The reason I do that is because when I unmold it out of the loaf pan, I can control how thick my slices are. But certainly a lot of people just dump it out on a sheet tray and do it that way for this fennel and tomato compote. I love fennel. It's got a kind of, well, it's also called anise. It's got a kind of a faint kind of licorice flavor. And this is beautiful fennel. It's nice and small, very fresh, and it's delicious. It gets very creamy. So I'm just going to cut this. Let's see. It's going to go on the polenta, so I don't want it to be too big.
I like it raw.
So I'm going to slice it thin and then slice it in half. I always keep in mind, it's good to keep in mind what you're going to do with your vegetables. You know, what size it needs to be. So this is going to go on polenta, so little crostini, so we don't want it to be too large a piece. I might use as a little garnish. I don't cook with them, but they're edible. They're perfectly edible.
Doing now?
Now I'm just cutting the tomato for the fennel compote, fennel and tomato compote, and I'm going to do those.
I hear you getting a bacon.
I want them to sort of break down a little bit, but not turn into a sauce. Fresh parsley. I throw it on everything. I just love it. It's a brightening. It just brightens things up. I also like to add lemon zest into things. I can't find my lemons, but I'm not going to mix it in. So now, this is going to boil, or like pretty much to boil. So now I'm going to add about a couple teaspoons, about a teaspoon and a half of salt.
$60 a pound in stores. I have on Long Island.
And then this is a cup and a third of polenta, and you know you can get this in the supermarket, and the recipe is right on the box instructions.
So you don't tweak it. A quart to a cup and a third, right?
Whatever the box says.
Right.
This particular
Is
box.
there one brand that you?
This is Calavita, which is just the one I can find, and it's perfectly fine. It's just the cornmeal.
There's a local organic polenta by Wild Hive. They have at Table Local Market.
Oh, a Table. Oh, if I had known that, I would have gotten it from Table. So go to Table and get the organic one. So this is at a boil, and now you want to pour in your polenta in a little by little, like in a little. That's just so it doesn't lump up.
And the wind helps you out there. You guys like polenta. You love it. That's the little one.
It's like a special evening kind of thing.
Yeah, I order it out because I don't. I mean, it's not hard to do. I just can sit down and eat.
No, it's not hard.
So how long have you been stirring this?
About 3 minutes. It takes about 5 minutes. It's going to turn the fish.
Chili we've done.
And it sets up pretty fast, which is another reason why I like to use a loaf pan rather than just pouring it on a baking sheet like many people do, because it sets up really fast and can be not lumpy, but not smooth. And it actually doesn't matter because it's rustic. It's however you like it. You could even pour it into a cake pan and do wedges of it and cover it with some fennel and tomato compote that's going to be on top of our polenta. So I'm just going to add a little of this beautiful olive oil here from in the market, about a tablespoon. And notice I heat my pan first. Always heat your pan first. That means you can use less oil. Which was sweating now. In this case, I want to caramelize the fennel, so I have a higher heat for that. We're going to want it to brown. Put that in. Just a little brown if you can get it. Just have to be very careful when you pour it. And also, make sure you don't pour more than really, a little more than half full, so that it doesn't, when you turn it on, so that it doesn't splash out and burn you. So that there's the liquid. Now I'm just going to add some of this stuff. I know I'm putting vegetables in there. Hold this right here so I can pour it. This is just shallots, carrot, red peppers, yellow peppers, and I'm going to stop right now.
One potato?
And the potato.
Fantastic. And a Vitamix.
And in a Vitamix. Always put a towel on top, just in case. We're going to puree the soup now that we have power. Yoo-hoo!
Adding in the tomatoes and parsley into the fennel for the compost. Here with Rachel. Her soup's going over well.
So are you coming?
How are you going to do this?
Did it work?
So what are you doing?
A little soft, simply because I haven't had a refrigerator. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So here we go. So I'm going to slice it.
Keep the ice on it for a little while, and it'll actually make it out.
Oh, awesome.
Brush it with a little oil. Right? And then we top it with anything you want.
Fantastic.
We're almost there. It's releasing its liquid. Not quite ready. It's still a little crunchy. So I'm just going to cover it. It should be done in about maybe 5 minutes. Just leaving that. We have our polenta done here, and all was done was brushed with oil and then grilled to crisp it up just a little. So we're going to put this. I have a.
Maybe 40, but people tell me that.
These are little tasting samples. So polenta, and this is a fennel and tomato compote, which I just braised a little bit. Put that on top, and there you go. Do we have 4?